Hey, I'm Thomas. I have over 200 million long form views, 1 million subscribers combined, and today I'm going to analyze a SunnyV2 video, looking at the edit, so video design, sound design, anything when it comes to editing. With it being said, let's get right into it. Video I chose is Slow Painful Death of Angry Birds, 5 million views, one of his better performing ideas. Again, let's start.
Back in 2011, Angry Birds was everywhere.
So immediately, the first thing that stands out is, this is insanely well made, custom visual, and it's something I always try to stress to editors. The first 5 seconds of your video are the most important, even the first 30 seconds. And so in this case, you want to spend, I would say, like 30% of your editing's time on the first 30 seconds, and then the 70% spent of the rest of the video. And if you are editing well, and you are starting out, the video should get progressively worse. So to this, all of the custom, this is custom drop shadow, custom, everything is custom to match the Angry Birds theme, unique to the video. You won't see a visual like this ever again.
They had multiple different...
Was also sound effect of the wood falling down.
Angry Birds was...
Also, obviously, Angry Birds sound effect draws the viewer more into the video. I noticed he started with a black screen.
Back in 20...
and a slow fade. Maybe that's also something could look into.
Angry Birds was everywhere. They had multiple...
Same here. Also notice how he set up the background
in 2011,
already. So this is one scene, and so this is like the foreground of the scene, the foreground. And then as this collapses...
Angry Birds was...
Yeah, the lines are
everywhere.
Nice.
They
collapses, but now he just goes into it, and it still feels like you're in the same scene. And this background is already set up.
They had multiple different games, toys,
and also notice how, even though here the quality is like blurred and kind of like shit in quotes, he then, as it starts,
Birds was everywhere. They had multiple different games.
It's again now high quality, where you can much higher quality than it was previously. And even for this, it's not like super pretty, or it's not organized, so it's not like lines like this. And then just the different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 icons. But what he did here is he fully utilized the space, because if you did something like this, but there's so much empty space around here, but when he's doing this kind of controlled chaos, so the attention goes to the main thing. So attention goes to this. There's logo, then also there's 2 plushie toys, 2 Lego sets, and so it's organized chaos. That also allows him to make it look nicer. And same here, is this still has some movement. You can see the drop shadows. One thing I noticed a lot when I was analyzing SunnyV2 in the past is he does a good job at making things feel real. And so in this case, this is insane attention to detail, not having only the cover, but he's using a 3D effect of having and then overlaying it on top. But the animation, this is all just custom done. And again, first 5 seconds, notice how much I am speaking for how long, and I've gotten through first 5 seconds. But that's how it should be, just so much attention to detail and just grabbing the viewer's attention. The movement he's doing here, where it kind of flips, is something that the object could actually do. And it's not, like a glow or a paper transition, but a transition, it feels, I don't know how to say it better, but it feels real.
He's generating hundreds of...
And also nice transition, going from white to white. Because the background is already white, it feels super natural. But you just notice how the background transitioned naturally from white background into white background. And it still feels like we are kind of in the same, I call it the same canvas, but essentially in the same screen, where it's not a harder transition, like a fade or a cut, something like that, but it's just moving in one.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, just notice, this is something recently I learned from SunnyV2, is when he's doing blurring, the blur isn't too much. This is what I would call attention focusing blur. When the focus of the blur is to draw attention, or even what I'm seeing from SunnyV2, but everything is still readable, and it's more so just to drag your attention into what he wants you to pay attention to. But usually, when you want to censor something, I would recommend doing mosaic blur. I think it looks better, but also seen it in SunnyV2, I believe. Again, still 8 seconds. This is a super custom transition. Yeah, this one.
They were
just insane. I am I don't know how long, but 8 minutes into the video, and we are in first 10 seconds. And if the meta lesson I would want you guys to take from this is just notice how much attention to detail there is, and how much time is required at the top level to dedicate to just the intro.
Firing masses of...
And then he used kind of still a unique, but even here he didn't go from white. He went from white,
but by 2019
to gray, and then the focus to this, and so you don't even pay attention to the background. And from gray it darkens. And suddenly it was essentially it felt only inverting the black text on white. Now it's white text on black.
Of staff, and since then things have only gotten...
Same here, just excellent timing. Also, this is also a mistake I'm noticing a lot, is notice how he's only focusing on the most important things. So it's only Angry Birds, and it's only interest over time. If I would go into Google Trends and shown Angry Birds. Notice how much detail there is. But compare, this is just the lines and then the peak. So like essentially this, but then the note he removed. He also, you know, like then made it like change the color. But he kept this and he kept this and then the color. That's everything that's important to the video, and he also like arranged it so it fits better. And most editors would just show everything. So they would show worldwide, 2004 to present, all categories, web search, compare, and it like even this like question mark, this. So much detail which isn't necessary for the video and would drag away attention. Where if you just showed me a screenshot like this, I'm like, where the fuck do I focus? But instead draws attention to the specific thing, and then also like just the smoothness of the animation where it's like slow, and then rhythm gets fast. And also this is also blue. And since then things have fallen off.
Gotten worse.
Has only gotten worse. And so like he's also matching it to the pacing of the voiceover. Insane attention to detail.
Gotten worse. Perhaps it's just karma for stealing the
17 seconds is the first like more cheap visual. It's still good story showing, but it's like, you know, this is just like a recording of a screen and nothing custom. But because this is also where the intro ends. And so again, the meta lesson is give this proportionate time to the intro because it matters that much.
In
Text,
April,
glitch transition.
Birds wasn't an original concept.
And so here, notice, what is he showing here? So we are watching Angry Birds. And so where would you be playing Angry Birds? On your phone. And so how would you transition something on your phone? It glitches and it goes to something else. And so notice he didn't here do like a page flip, or he didn't do like a slide over. He didn't do like just pop it up. Just made it realistic.
2009, a game was released named Crush the Castle.
Also, just like notice like preparing. This looks
required.
Yeah, also just custom insane. But even here, like notice how it looks as part of it. Another thing SunnyV2 does a lot is he always thinks ahead of time. And so he's preparing visuals that he wants to show later on. And so that's why, you know, how he can keep up with these long canvases where we are going from like first 10 seconds is just like continuous evolving because he's thinking ahead of time. And so now he shows the text, then this pops in, goes harder.
A game was released named Crush the Castle.
And also this is custom, yeah, like also, you know, unique font to match the game.
Which required
sound effect to like go down.
Players to fire a trebuchet into wooden structure hiding medieval people.
And so this was also like now he shows this boring visual just to show
things have only got
kind of
worse.
the comparison. Yeah, boom, like so this shows like throwing into it and it breaks.
Players to fire a trebuchet into
and it
wooden
shows flying
hiding medieval people. Well,
into breaking.
8 months later in December.
Like he's not using any basic transitions and everything feels high quality. And like even for example this one, I don't even know what he like did here fully.
Well,
so he zooms out.
8 months
He zooms out of the game.
later.
Okay, I think why this feels unique is because the phone is full screen. It doesn't feel like it's just a flip where it's like a video, and then it just zoom. And also he's gonna change the music soon because I believe we still have the same music because it's still kind of the victory music of the intro.
December 2009, game developer Rovio made an app named
Yeah.
Angry Bird.
Also this, like, again, still so much attention to detail, like what is happening on this scene. Like there's the phone, but then instead of just zooming into it, he like tilts it so it like looks creative. Also can zoom in into the text more. Again, notice how he's playing with the blur, where he's not hard blurring. It's not like what most people would do is, like I'm just gonna show Gaussian blur, but most people, most editors would just do this on everything else and it just looks insanely ugly. And instead he's kind of doing more of the lens blur, but just like kind of one focus, and it like slowly gets harder, but like more intense. But it's not at any point it's not too intense. And then so you can still read the text. This is insane attention to detail. So this is typed out manually because this highlight is going under the text, which makes it feel like it's part of the phone. That's insane.
Which while clearly
And then again, and the same way it appeared. So it appeared from the bottom, and now it slides away, and we go back into the same scene. And then also
being a rip-off was
also the timing here. Notice.
Which while clearly being a
Notice like tiny details like this, just timing the hits on the same and like showing like as close as possible, just a 1-to-1 comparison. Like Pextor was inspired by SunnyV2 because I'm sad he's loved because his editing and his attention to the craft. I think he was one of the people who cared about what he was making.
rip-off was better in every way. It
And then also like transition, so like it's a 50 and then just like kind of it over the
had cooler,
face.
cleaner animated graphics and different stages, each with different
Yeah, and here this again like feels, here he did a
And
fake
different
transition, but it makes sense because like that's kind of what the game would do. If you were actually playing it again on your phone, it would just be like you would click and you would get a fake transition or like some loading screen.
stages, each with different levels. You got points for every
This is all, or just... the beauty about SunnyV2 editing is you can't tell the editing or like the details. Like, for example, notice this transition.
Different stages each with
Like, he's using this visual to perfectly story show what he's saying now.
different levels.
Perfect levels, and he clicks on the level, and then
You got points.
and then you got points, and it transitions perfectly into like clicking on the level. You have a fade transition, and it goes into the level. He's just too good.
Every enemy killed, and points for every bird you didn't use.
Just a super clean story showing. Like, this is what. Obviously, there's stuff like this where you go super hard, but most of editing is just finding the simplest visual to story show what's happening. And so, here, he's not doing some fancy do-do-do animation, just showing, yep, like you get points, boom, like you get points for defeating enemies.
Points for every bird you didn't use.
You get points for saving every bird, so you show 10k.
Giving players the chance to compete for high score.
Just... This is also a largely a scripting thing, but the flawlessness, like just everything flows into one another, and it's like we are progressing in the story, like the pacing is excellent, but the editing feels like he's just playing the game and he just like showed one 20-second long visual, like there's no change, but he's doing it so well and it feels so high quality. It's like, oh wow.
Throw in 5 different birds with
same here.
5 different abilities.
Again, just transition, like still using custom backgrounds for the video, so we are still in the Angry Bird theme. Then like it's the naming using the Angry Bird font. Also,
as well as
the eyes are moving.
The cool, catchy
this is like always animated.
Soundtrack, and it's easy to see.
The soundtrack, is still on brand, so now because it's more like cartoony visual, he's using a cartoony visual sound, like waveform, instead of like using digital waveform. Yeah, like most people, would just default to using something cool like this, or like something like this, like a visualizer. But it would just be wildly off-brand for what he's doing right now. So, yeah.
It's easy to see that.
And again, just nice. Like here, you can sometimes play with the transitions because, to make it unique. But I think the one thing that Pixter does, SunnyV2 does excellently, that Pixter could improve is the uniqueness. It doesn't feel templatized at all. It feels like so far that 1 minute in, and I felt like there was ever the same thing twice. And everything was just unique. And that's, I think, something could improve pretty much everybody's video.
Angry Birds was better.
And also just nice animation where it's not just like boom, but it's like goes bam and then goes kind of back. Like if I show it again.
Easy to see that Angry
goes down and then like
better. They developed
fade transition. This like kind of goes back, transitions into another white.
Only 2 months to become the #1 paid app in 60 countries.
Is that actually okay? This is I thought I would assume did the link. Did he also include the link? Yeah, he did. But no, I would not be surprised if he did this like on his own just to make a cooler transition where he would just add it as a custom thing.
They understandably took the chance to milk it to become the #1 paid app in 60 countries. They understandably took the chance to milk it. Then make loads of different varieties like Angry Birds.
Yeah, like one, like iPhone.
Angry Birds Space, and Angry Birds Star Wars.
Again, so much work for so simple visuals where, most people would just show, again, the icons. They would just show, like, he did Angry Birds 1, he did Angry Birds 2, Angry Birds 3. Compared to this, like, this is just much higher quality and feels like a 4.5 million subscriber channel would do it. And so, to get to that size, you need to start doing the things you can, it's not a thing of, oh, first I'm gonna get to 1 million subscribers and then I'm gonna behave like a 1 million subscriber channel. It's like expecting fire before you put in the wood. No, first you put in the wood, first you make excellent videos, and then as a reward, you get the fire, you get the like subscribers you want, or like views more, so like subscribers are the vanity metric.
Was helping it become the
#1 and still like using the kind of background
app in Apple's App Store with 6 to 7 million paid downloads.
Using green to like show it's good, but also because now he doesn't have a specific color. Maybe he would use blue because he does oftentimes what he uses tries to keep as little colors as possible at one time.
By the end of Angry Birds' first year, they'd made $10 million.
Yeah, also the outline.
Players still demand.
And then just again, like notice how this transition, like thinking into the future, where this transition was already prepared.
By the end of Angry Birds' first.
And it's also like clean, where one good hack for editing is, and it's kind of hard to do, which is why it looks so cool, is if you can create chaos but make it look intentional, it's gonna almost always come out cleaner than being like everything perfect. And so it's one example is here, second example was in the intro, like with this, the 6-second frame, where there's so much happening, but it feels nice to look at because it's organized nicely. And same here, you know, most people would do just one comment at the top. So again, if I show, like, most people would do one comment like this, then the second comment like this, but then this would, like, you know, be unused space. Instead, you know, having this where it's like one is like this and then the second goes over it like this makes it look much more unique, and also it's like controlled chaos.
Yeah, they'd made 10 million US dollars, but players
and also like 1, 2, again, just treating things separately instead of just being like what he could have done.
At the end of Angry Birds' first year, they'd made 10
It's just
million
going
US dollars.
Like both at once, like, because that's what normal people, like most beginner editors would do, where they would just like, okay, I'm yapping.
But players still demanded more. We have so many fans who have asked for the plush toys, so these are going to be available in a couple of weeks. And we're really trying to build Angry Birds.
Yeah, this is something he does often as well in the other videos, but this is, you know, when he would be reading. So for example, if he was reading, so survival of Angry Birds is at stake. Dish out revenge on the green pigs who stole the bird eggs. If he showed it like this, and he does it, he mixes it up because variety, but it would not be bad. But if it's done too often, it kind of gets boring if he was like reading all of this out. But when he takes the time to give it all of this attention, like we have so many fans who have asked for the plush toys, so these are going to be available in a couple of weeks, and we're literally trying to build Angry Birds. It just looks cool, and it's like kind of like also a face to look at instead of just having it separate as a text. Makes it look nice and cool.
Birds into this entertainment franchise. It took only
and then again, this is going slowly, like this is rolling away, because again, it's not going like this, because that's not how the plush toy would behave. But how would a plush toy behave? You know, it would roll
4 months.
And then same with here, like notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Trying to build Angry Birds.
But again, it's not zoom. See like how it's going.
Months before that announced.
And it's also like, again, it cleans up, so it still like makes it feel like in one canvas. It's the same thing he did early on, like with this.
Different games, toys, and movies.
But it cleans up and shows space for the main thing.
Available guys.
And then same here, like again, it goes and cleans it up.
Only 4 months before that announced 60,000.
And yeah, this is also what I meant with the blur. Here, he's blurring, not so you don't read it, but so you know what to focus on. And so he's not doing like a boom, like blur, which would be just ugly to look at, but it's just a tiny bit just to make this stand out. This is a super strong technique, which I don't see as many people use as they should, but using number 1, like super light blurs, and number 2, brightness and darkness. So another thing you could do, I can actually do it now, but you know, I could do it like this, or if I want you to focus on a specific thing, is it? Nope. This? Nope. Yeah, this one. So, you know, simple. I didn't do like actually anything, but if I want you to focus on my face, the only change I did is I gave everything else a darkness and kept me bright, and it like directs your attention of like, oh hey, I want you to look at this. And so, you know, if I like whatever I point at, like, you know, if I point at this, and then even if I play the visual now, like it's very hard to pay attention to my face. Sorry, but it was very hard to pay attention to my face because like it's just not, it's out of focus, and you just naturally pay attention to my mouse. So use small Gaussian blurs and use like the spotlights.
Toys have been sold as the game itself became the best-selling paid app of all time.
This is more sort of scripting thing, but you know, not being like, you know, he first says the later thing and then the top thing and also moves it, so it's always kind of centered. So now the center of the frame is here, and so previously if I play this, like this is center of the frame, and so this is centered
as the game itself became,
and then it moves up. Because if he just did it like this,
Angry Birds,
it would be like you would be reading it here and it would be kind of uncomfortable to read. The one thing I always say people all the time, it's gonna be super helpful, but most people nowadays watch videos on TV. And so, you know, when you look at it at PC, number 1, we can see things, you can see now, you may be while watching this on TV, but you can see things better. So you can see like, you know, much more like, okay, this looks good size. The point I'm trying to make is 2 points. Most people are watching on TV. Therefore, number 1, visuals should almost always be as big as possible. And number 2, they should be centered, because, you know, for us, it's easy to like, for me, it's easy to go from here to here. It's like same screen. But if it's a massive TV, it's like I have to go from like watching here and it's like, oh, it's like break my neck in the process, so don't do that.
Soft toys have been sold as the game itself became the best-selling paid app of all time. Within Angry Birds, it's
the same here. So like animation, it's not zoom, but it's zoom zoom. I think this is something we also don't do on Paxtor enough, but I think we could start doing a lot more.
That implement microtransactions,
and again, like the custom backgrounds relevant to the video,
like Mighty Eagle, which allowed players to pay to clear entire levels, with celebs like Justin Bieber even advocating for it.
Yeah, and also just like the transitions.
With celebs like Justin Bieber even advocating for it. Angry Birds.
And yeah, like here he's blurring this because it's not important, but this is his like handle, so this is important. And the likes,
even
notice how they are also not as blurred because it's like giving social proof that hey, people agree with him.
Advocating for it. Angry Birds made 100 million in 2011.
Okay, so notice he used the purple, so he's probably gonna transition to purple in some way.
And went from 28 employees in the beginning of the year to 224
and also like again still the blurs.
employees by the end.
Also one thing, and this is not as relevant to this specifically, but going forward I would love you to pay attention to how he's always utilizing, again it's coming to the TV example, but notice how he's always utilizing pretty much the full screen. I would recommend everybody looking to save margins, and so it's this, but this is almost always how much space you should utilize, unless you are doing it deliberately not to, but when you're starting out just focus on using it. It's better to use it too much than too little, but notice how it's like, you know, the full screen is used and nothing is like too small at any point. Like for example, this screenshot.
Birds itself.
Notice how he's like kind of following the save margins, and most people like what they would do here is again they would just like show this same exact thing but show it like this for no reason. And I see this all the time where people just don't use all the space they have, but it's unless done deliberately, you want to have as little, not as little, but like within save margins, but you want to have as little empty space because it's just like, you know, it's like, hey, I'm gonna give you $100 and you're saying, okay, I'm gonna use $50. It's like, why? You have all this like money you can use, all the screen space you can use. Why use only half of it?
That implement microtransactions with celebs like Justin Bieber even allowed.
And I think he also like did
players
this
to pay to clear
because now when it's like in smaller
levels.
zoom, also he's doing like a tilt, which makes it like less. This is also nice potential look into this. But because if it was full screen, it would go like from big to small, I'm assuming. But because now we are going from like this size, maybe what I can actually draw it, but like we are going from this size, so this is the framing we are looking at, this is what I'm as a viewer paying attention to. And I can't play it, that's annoying. Actually what I can do is this.
Within Angry Birds itself, that implement microtransactions like Mighty Eagle, which allowed players to pay to clear entire levels. With celebs like Justin Bieber
how he's
even
like in this
advocating
box.
for it. Angry Birds made 100 million in 2011 and went from 28 employees in the beginning of the year.
This is actually like, I discovered this on Action, but this is a good technique. Like, you know, I would, you know, I can also do this like with the, like this, but if I like continue playing, but notice how he directs your attention and I won't have to move my mouse too much. I'm gonna play what I played already so I don't like show new stuff, but look how I'm not gonna have to do too much new stuff.
Time. Within Angry Birds itself, that implement microtransactions like Mighty Eagle, which allowed players to pay to clear entire levels. With celebs like Justin Bieber even advocating for it. Angry Birds made 100 million in 2011 and went from 28 employees in the beginning of the year to 224.
Notice how I don't have to move my mouse as much, and like what the mouse means is like, you know, just eyes what I'm looking at.
Employees by the end of 2011. 5 months later, they set a new world record. First mobile game series to reach 1 billion downloads. They doubled their revenue again by the end of 2012,
again, like, just notice,
at which point they started to face a serious problem. The game was getting stale.
Yeah, like just overall, I would like recommend doing this, but you would see this number one and number two, the like rectangle method, which would just show. I can potentially have it for the moving forward. I also want to. I can stop that.
5 months later, they set a new world.
And again, so now notice how previously I said a page flip would not work because it doesn't make sense for a digital thing to behave like paper. But look at this. He has a paper and he does a page flip. Like just super realistic.
Record. First mobile game series to reach
and again, like super soft Gaussian blur.
Million downloads. They double their.
And again, so it arrives with a page flip and it goes away with a page flip. Like he's keeping it consistent, but it's like, it just feels like real life.
Point they started to face a serious problem. The game was getting stale. They'd made multiple different Angry Birds versions.
So again, like now instead of like using again the same visual like of this, he uses like a simple and like also has the logos and still custom background.
Changed the concept in over 3 years. As a result,
I think why he's doing it now is because it might look a bit too confusing and is like not the focus, but the focus is kind of the change. And so I think that's why it's not extended all the way to the corners, so it's easier to look at. And because it's the focus is like the change, and if it was like constant fades, there would like be too many changes, but now there is this combining element which keeps it together.
Different Angry Birds.
And so it still feels like one scene because this pulls it.
Version.
So like one.
But hadn't changed the concept in over 3 years. As a result, in the following year,
again goes down.
Their profits more than halved, with Angry Birds.
Also music change.
Different Angry Birds serious problems. mobile game series
Music change.
to reach 1 billion downloads. They'd double their revenue again by the end of 2012, at which point they started to face a serious problem.
So he kind of has the music slowly ends and he has lines, and I'm gonna update this is something I'm revising as well myself. But it seems like he has lines. So this is the clip. So this is like, let's say I'm gonna use a different color. I'm gonna use green. So this is the positive song. Then there is a line. So this is the positive part, like natural. This is gonna sound super obvious. But then he uses a transition line. So this is like, this is good. At which point they started to face a serious problem. So over this time, he slowly fades away this song. And then as he finishes the sentence, we get into the bad part. And this is also one thing, but again, this is more so scripting. No, it's not. It's a mix. But no, he ends like over this sentence. There's like the music kind of like almost no music. And then it goes again up into the bad part. So pay attention to this, how it's gonna be in the segment.
By the end of 2012, at which point
so transition line.
They'd double their revenue again by the end of 2012, at which point they started to face a serious problem. The game was getting stale. They'd made multiple
And now we have like like a more serious downfall music. And so now he's gonna keep it, like in the downfall theme of visuals.
different Angry Birds versions, but hadn't changed the concept in over 3 years. As a result, in the following year, their profits more than halved, with Angry Birds falling to 50.
Also like using red color to keep it still the same like downfall negative
in the
theme.
App Store,
Because previously he used greens and like more positive colors.
forcing the franchise to try a new format.
I don't think I have to like too much of like, the insane transition.
Release Angry Birds Go at the end of 2013, and while this was somewhat of a Mario Kart ripoff, people absolutely loved it.
So, I mean, it's fun. It is good.
Yeah, like super clean.
Forcing the franchise to try a new format. They'd release Angry Birds Go at the end of 2013, and while this was somewhat of a Mario Kart
And again, while here, the black screen would normally feel kind of cheap, or because by this point, it's 3 minutes in, and this is the first time, like, yes, like pretty much no background, but it feels good here. But at least I myself don't hate it because there's been so much uniqueness, and this is, even though it's like a blank black space, it is unique and it's something he didn't do before. And so again, up until this point, there was like so little repetition, and everything feels kind of unique and fresh.
Go at the end of 2013, and while this was somewhat of a Mario Kart ripoff, people absolutely loved it.
So, I mean, it's fun. It is good fun. It looks good. It plays well.
Professional reviewers gave it 7.7, while people on Reddit called it their favorite Angry Birds game and perfection at its finest. Rovio therefore continued to experiment, releasing an
like simple visuals.
RPG game named Angry Birds Epic, which again received incredible reviews, reading
But notice how the video is gonna get slightly worse, like at this point. Like just pay attention to the quality, like the quality we saw thus far up until the 3-minute mark, so with the first 30% of the video, and how the quality is gonna get like worse. But that's natural because, you only have so much time, and if you have only 10 hours to edit the video, it doesn't make sense to give each 1 minute like 1 hour, because 100% of people, or like a lot of people are gonna watch the first 1 minute, but only like 30% of people are gonna watch the last minute.
The latest Angry Birds title is a welcome addition to a franchise, which hasn't seen much change.
Also, like using same here
Since its inception back in 2009. Similarly, users said it might be the best RPG title I've ever played.
And yeah, here I think that seems like he didn't use all the space because this could have been like larger, but because he didn't want it to use it, now
And
he
honestly,
uses all the space.
Title I've
Yeah, like this, and so now it's again like the save margins.
ever played.
Also notice here it is going like at once, and again it's the same like with the black background. And I also might be looking too much into it, but it's all about variety. You can do simple stuff, but you can't do it all the time because then it's gonna feel cheap. But if you do simple stuff, but it feels intentional and new, it's gonna work in your favor.
and honestly, a pretty solid time. I think the approach they went with here really worked and paid off.
The only problem was, these games didn't sell merch like the original Slingshot format. Therefore, merchandise sales plummeted, while total 2014 revenue dropped, and profits fell 73% to 10 million euros.
Yeah.
As a result, media
But like just notice how like simple, like again I'm gonna play it twice speed, but notice the quality from like the 3-minute mark. Just like pay attention to the pure visual quality.
It looks good. It plays well.
professional reviewers gave it 7.7, while people on Reddit called it their favorite Angry Birds game and perfection at its finest. Rovio therefore continued to experiment, releasing an RPG game named Angry Birds Epic, which again received incredible reviews, reading, "The latest Angry Birds title is a welcome addition to a franchise, which hasn't seen much change since its inception back in 2009. Similarly, users said it might be the best RPG title I've ever played."
And honestly, a pretty solid time. I think the
Simple clip.
approach they went
plays.
with here really worked and paid off.
The only problem was
simple clip, play.
these games didn't sell merch like the original Slingshot formats. Therefore, merchandise sales plummeted, while total 2014 revenue dropped, and profits fell 73% to 10 million euros. As a result, media outlets reported, Rovio lays off 110 people as Angry Birds hype fades, representing 14% of the company's workforce. They try to fix their decline with yet another experiment, Angry Birds Pop, which was pretty unsuccessful. In a Reddit thread asking out of all the Angry Birds...
All of this, like, for like a minute and some, it's probably gonna continue, but all of it is just like clips and text. Pretty much nothing otherwise like fancy compared, you know, not even close to anything that was in the intro. But what I would do at this point is you edit the first like super hard, and then as long as, at least in my opinion, as long as you have like something that catches your attention every now and then, like, you know, for example, the car transition was like super cool and like grab your attention, I'm sure you're gonna still see like some kind of over edited parts, and so it's gonna, the video kind of, if I draw it on a line, so imagine this is like the video like timeline, and so this is gonna represent the quality, but you know, it's gonna be like kind of like high, then like slowly goes down. It's gonna be like down, then like, oh, super high quality, low, super high quality, low, super high quality, and just like these tiny points, like these like spikes, which just every now and then make you go, oh, whoa, this is a good visual, are gonna kind of like re-engage and not make it feel like the video is just going to shit.
Birds games. Which one do you think is the worst? Pop was mentioned many times over. Therefore, they'd go back to basics and put out Angry Birds 2, the official sequel, although many called it a downgrade from the original. The sequel was filled...
Yeah, like just again notice like just the quality of the visual, like how it's slowly getting worse. But again, this is not a critique, this is how efficient time allocation looks.
To the brim with microtransactions, clearly annoying the fan base who wrote, "This is a very greedy game that keeps some possible, and then you either have to replay each level 10 times, or significance that you pay backward for the massively popular..."
You want to like, I'm gonna speed it up so I can potentially cover some more stuff and not what I already went over.
Series. Angry Birds 2 is missing key parts of what made previous games so universally compelling to gamers both hardcore and casual, young and old. Still, due to its intense monetization, Angry Birds 2 became...
Again, just like this is all simple clips. Now again, this is like a custom transition that makes you, oh, whoa, like it's not amazing, but like it's still like when I would see it, I'd be like, oh, this is cool, this is sick. And so like just after like, you know, 2 minutes, like the last cool transition was here, he then does this one, and it's like, yeah, just like again, re-engages you and shows, hey, he can still do cool stuff, but then it's like the peaks and valleys are like the boom, 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 boom.
Game. Surprisingly, however, that very same year, they'd announced losses of almost 15 million and would fire a further third of their workforce, this time being over 200 people. This seemed to imply that Angry Birds was dead until they'd make an unexpected comeback.
I would even assume that the first 3 minutes were edited. If you told me the first 3 minutes were edited by one person and the 3 to 10 minute mark were edited by somebody else, I would believe you, because, you know, again, compare the quality. And again, this is not a bad thing. This is a fucking smart thing. Like, he's one of the biggest creators, and so I'm saying this with respect. But no, like, notice again just the quality or like the investment ratio, where now he's just showing.
Turns out that Angry Birds was dead until they'd make an unexpected comeback.
Like, yeah, just an arrow like this compared to, like, you know, what he did with the graph early on. Like, just compare the quality like of these two visuals. Like, you know, here he didn't include the node, etc. See the difference of like, but again, it's just good. Like, this is working smart.
Turns out they'd spent the previous 3 years privately developing the...
Again, this is like, this I would say this is a, oh, wow. Like, this is a wow visual.
Birds movie. At a cost of 73 million, they'd made a risky bet, but with a star-studded cast and a fun little story.
And also, this is something also new, but notice how slowly they are changing the backgrounds and transitions, where, again, most people just go with this, and then it goes to white in like 1 second, but notice how slowly the background is turning into white.
Cast and a fun little story.
It feels super smooth.
Angry Birds movie did surprisingly well. It made over 350 million.
Again, some basic 3D effect.
And put Angry Birds back into the public spotlight.
And now it goes back into the,
People began replaying their previously released games.
This is something we do a lot on Pexto, but yeah, just like having some background visuals again to make it more engaging. What this is just, you know, Subway Surfer meme, where it's, you know, just something like this. I would say it's the same principle. You know, there's like a background, something like to look at, so you don't click off doing this.
While Angry Birds theme parks popped up in different countries. Media outlets reported Rovio Games had its best year ever in 2016. However, the gaming release...
Yeah, and again, like just nice looking
icons
that
Angry Birds was known for was still declining in quality. In his video, I played and ranked every Angry Birds game so you don't have to.
Also, another thing that separates good from great is the tiny details. Like, this looks super high quality, and it looks like a real, like, just notice how, like, this just looks super
Birds
impressive.
was known for was still declining in quality.
Like, just how, like, realistic it looks, like the drop shadows and everything is just, like, normally. Again, most people would just do, you know, like a glass shatter effect. Just overlay this and just like obviously look like fake or like a preset, but he like goes above and beyond to like have it unique. And again, at start you need to have a lot of these effects back to back, but later on you can like just, as long as you mix it with like not boring but like normal and exceptional, it is enough, and you don't have to have always exceptional. Obviously, ideally he would have always exceptional, but it's also like that's what MrBeast does, because he has like an insane massive team, and like the editors are not the bottleneck. It's just like multiple people like actually filming the content, they can film it, and so it's a large team. But when you are alone or just like a few people, you need to focus on the start disproportionately.
In his video, I played and ranked every Angry Birds game so you don't have to. Jake Miller talks about Angry Birds Action.
Angry Birds Action was the start of using the new anthropomorphic designs from the movies in their games, which I think most
Again, just like Subway sort of a visual where it's like just something to take your
fans
attention.
agree was the real beginning of the end for the series.
Which happened to be the first game after the movie. Similarly, in the Reddit thread asking about the worst Angry Birds game, one user implied it was most of them after the movie's release. Said games included Angry Birds Fight, aka a Candy Crush ripoff, as well as Angry Birds Match, which was
Super simple visual
described as extremely bland.
and text.
However, thankfully for Rovio, their older titles were still
And again, like I would assume that soon we are gonna again see like some wow visual.
extremely popular, with Angry Birds 2's revenue growing 47% in 2018, despite it being over 3 years old. This gave them the budget to make a second movie.
Simple as that. Like, you know, it is just patterns, but you know,
Growing
like just simple, but then you
47%
have again like some custom like whoa that pulls you in
20
and breaks the like monotonous like same type editing, same style, and just something new and fresh.
18,
Fresh.
despite it being over 3 years old. This
But like just notice like there's the money.
gave them the budget to make
This is like yeah, just like goes away, the number
a second
applies, and goes
movie.
back in.
However, their $65 million bet didn't pay off so well.
This is also like again nice like kind of controlled chaos where he's not using a super clean. Again, it's not bad necessarily, like if you just did a simple rectangle, if you did something like this, but it's also like need to vary it up. And so if you always use a rectangle, if you just always just do like this, sometimes having this looks better.
This time, Forbes wrote Angry Birds 2 is worse than the original in nearly every way, whilst Rotten Tomatoes critics added,
This is also like a nice tiny detail. That's also something, you know, all that's needed is tiny animation that looks cool, also enough to like break it up, where this probably took, you know, maybe like 5 minutes to actually execute, but it makes this visual look a lot better.
stressingly ineffective sequel that grows less and less interesting and more tiresome as it unfolds. Still, the movie made a
Say nice
profit of
animation.
$82 million, right as the company
And also like especially nice and relevant transition.
was making some weird changes. Despite their older games being low maintenance,
Yes.
Rovio decided to completely stop updating them.
Again, another wow visual.
Then, without
Very engaged.
explanation, some of the older beloved titles, including the original Angry
And here he can like do this high quality because he's just using presets he used early on here. So even though this looks high quality, it's like didn't take as much time to execute because he just like reused the same visual.
Birds were deleted from the
Also this, again, this is another tiny detail, like it's the same with the shatter effect, where like all the icons like shattered and like looked super high quality. Same exact story here, like, you know, most people will just like not have this like
App
super
Store.
cool,
When
like fading into like irrelevant, like kind of pixelation effect.
people began to talk about what they'd done, people made compilations stating Angry Birds was dead. There were comments like, remember when Rovio actually cared? Whilst hashtag BringBack2012 began to trend on Twitter. Things got so bad that Rovio apologized, stating they only possibly developing
text.
games
Again,
in
simple
response
visuals.
to the backlash that
That are mostly probably at 2x, there's gonna be too much new stuff, but it's still, okay. Okay, well, if that's a sign, I'm gonna end it here. If you think it was valuable, I would also love, you know, anybody to suggest ideas for what I should be doing next, some other videos. You can expect a lot more of this format going forward because it mainly helps me. I want to get better at speaking, and I also want to get better at like analyzing. And so this is like 2 wins in one, and also providing value to other people. By the way, I'm hiring people who are passionate about YouTube. Apply below. And yeah, let me know what other videos you would like. And take care. Adios.